Hey friends, welcome back. This is part 2 of my little 2-part series, I guess we could call it, about welcoming in the new year and reevaluating our mindset through perspective and narrative. Part 1, if you haven't checked it out yet, just released recently, I'll go ahead and drop that right up here if you haven't seen it yet. So you can also watch this part and head back to the other one. In part 1, I talked about changing my perspective and leading with joy instead of sales. And that changed everything for me as an artist. Almost everything. I was still holding myself back. It was all about the story that I was telling myself about my art, about my abilities, and what I was allowed to want, and really what I was capable of doing. If you're feeling stuck and you're second guessing yourself, if imposter syndrome has been big, or you're wondering why things aren't clicking yet, this video might help you out. But if you're new here, I'm Abigail. So welcome. I'm a traditional artist and I create delightfully whimsical artwork to spread joy. That's my mission. I typically use traditional mediums such as oil and gouache. And I've been selling my artwork for 5 years, and I'm here to share with you some of the things that I've learned along the way. One of the biggest decisions that I used to make as an artist was making decisions based on fear. And this mindset held me back for a really long time, longer than it should have. So first, let's just talk about fear from the beginning. At first, fear showed up in my art style. I was afraid to show everybody my weird, quirky, still kind of cute view of the world. And because I was afraid, I didn't show it. And I made realistic art instead because it was safe. And then I tried to make soft, blobby, kawaii style art because I thought that's what people wanted and I thought it was cute. And honestly, I struggled through all of it. And when I finally let go of that fear and I allowed myself to show up, to create art for my true self with my true hand and what feels naturally and comes naturally, everything really did start to change. That's when the pivot occurred for me. Not only did my art business grow, but my confidence grew. And most importantly, the joy I felt while creating grew exponentially. Where else did fear show up in my work? Fear also showed up in creating my work. It's how I decided when a painting was finished. There were so many times when I knew that a piece needed more work, maybe another layer, maybe more session, maybe just more pizzazz, but I was too afraid to do that because I was afraid I was gonna ruin the artwork. So I settled. I chose safe. I accepted work and put work out into the world that was subpar. Then one day I came up with this personal motto: if you've got little kids around, plug their ears, fuck it and have fun. I actually wrote this down, I put it on my easel, and this was my way to remind myself to forget all of the noise, block it out, tune it out, go into my world and put out what I love and try things. Just have fun with it. If I think that painting probably could use another layer, well, guess what? It probably could use another layer. And if I'm afraid and I screw it up, oh well, because it wasn't gonna be good to put out into the world anyways. And with this, I learned not to settle. I learned that I'm capable. My bird keeps screaming. I learned that I'm capable of so much more than I thought. And I learned that being brave and taking risks in my art is huge. Because even if I ruin something, I learned so much. It goes along that same philosophy of what is the worst that can happen? Somebody says no, people don't like it. I did all that work and it was gonna go out into the world and not be finished. And guess what? People weren't gonna like it because it's not finished. And through all of this, I learned so much by just trying, by just moving forward and trying. And if I'm not learning, then I'm not growing. We talked about how fear showed up in my artwork, but how did it show up in my business decisions? It showed up in my business decisions because I was afraid to do any art fairs that weren't local. I was terrified to set up my booth by myself. I thought that I needed not only the physical support to set up my booth, but the emotional support as well. And initially I did. It was all still really new and scary, and my anxiety would be through the roof at my art fairs. And so having my husband by my side, kind of helping me keep calm, was really important in the beginning. And while this help was deeply appreciated, the relying on him was holding me back. I was afraid to travel, and I was afraid to drive long distances. I was afraid to go to new cities. I was afraid that what if something went wrong when I was setting up my booth and I don't have my husband there to help me troubleshoot the problem. And this year, I decided to let go of that fear. I came across this quote, I think it was on Pinterest, and I believe it quoted Nelson Mandela, and when I Googled it, that's who it says it was, but if it's not, please correct me. And the quote is, "May your choices reflect your hope, not your fear." Wow. All of my decisions up until that point were based in fear. And maybe it wasn't conscious. I know it wasn't conscious. I wasn't like, oh, I'm totally afraid of this. But it was. I worry about this. I'm not sure if that's gonna work out. I am concerned that that's not a safe option. That's all fear. We're just saying it in different ways. And because I've made this switch, I've learned that yes, I am strong enough physically and emotionally to handle the roller coaster of art fairs on my own, which has opened up a huge world for me. because I took those chances, I've met so many more incredible new people. I've shared my art with more communities, and I've spread joy to more people than just Indiana because I took these chances this year. I surpassed my financial goals that I had set for the year. Setting aside my fears opened doors to art fairs that have stellar reputation, places where people show up to buy. I still have fears. I'm not perfect. I still have fears that I'm working through, and I am so sorry if you hear my bird in the background. She's talking. She's just talking, but it might be picking up on it. So who knows how these videos are gonna go today. All right, I am not without fear. I still have fear. I'm always going to have fear. And I'm still afraid to try new things. I've got all of these ideas, these things that I wanna try, and I keep telling myself that they're big and those are big projects and maybe I shouldn't be focusing on them. Again, that's another way of me saying I'm afraid. And something else that I've noticed is that I'm working on this new collection of what I'm calling my Wonderfolk, and I'm scared to talk about them. I'm afraid people won't like it. It's a little bit different than my current art because I'm including more humanoid creatures. And because it's different and unfamiliar, I'm afraid. Pet fear is sneaky and it will creep right back in. I also recognize that this fear is part of the process. I see this, I recognize it, and I can now make decisions moving forward. And maybe that collection isn't the right idea. Maybe trying this new project isn't the right thing. Maybe it's not the right time and maybe it's not the right style. So choosing hope over fear doesn't mean that fear disappears. It means that you stop letting it make decisions for you. And that shift, combined with leading from a place of joy, is what really has changed so much for me over the last 2 years. I hope that these videos have been helpful for you. Everybody is so different on what their needs are. Talking about this here and today is creating awareness. And when we are aware, we can start to make different decisions. We can start to change our perspective. And that's what I'm hoping that I can help do with you today. So we're heading into a new year. And in part 1, I asked everybody to comment below and share what their mission is. Now, comment below what fears have been holding you back and what decisions that you can make going forward that are based in hope instead of fear and what that could look like for you. Let's manifest, baby. I want to hear from you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here today. I hope my bird wasn't screaming too much, but that's all part of it, right? We're people. This is not some big fancy YouTube studio. This is literally my art studio and I'm crammed in a little corner trying to make it look kind of nice for you. So it is what it is. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you'd like to hear from. I'm working on some other videos. I did take a little break for a few weeks after I just did my last series on Prince, and so I'm working on my next videos after these two. So I'd love to hear from you and what you'd like to see more of. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a wonderful day and that this year is your year.